Underwriting for the Money Doctor Show is provided by Regari Real Estate, Federal Street, Greenfield, a third-generation real estate agency serving the Pioneer Valley. Ryan and Casey Liquors, Main Street, Greenfield, exploring the world one glass at a time. West County Equipment Rental of Shelburne, daily, weekly, monthly rentals, 625-6463, or on the web at westcountyequipment.com. The Franklin County Community Development Corporation, growing sustainable businesses and communities since 1979. www.fccdc.org. Weld Communications, Marketing and Publicity, helping businesses spread the word in the Pioneer Valley and beyond. www.weldwords.com.
There's a better life if I could be debt-free, but all my money is a mystery. I was feeling overwhelmed and it was wearing thin when I knocked on the door and heard the doctor's in. Oh, the doctor's in, the doctor's in. She got the right prescription to help you win. Oh, the doctor's in, the money doctor's in.
Hello and welcome to the Money Doctor Show. I'm Dr. Frances Rahaim, president of Power Down Debt, a positive debt management company. And if you have a fear of needles, this might not be your show. But if you've ever wondered about acupuncture and the benefits of it, you might be in the right place at the right time today. My guest today is Dan Sachs from the Acupuncture office. Welcome, Dan.
Glad to be here.
Thanks. Now, years ago you had a show here. So what's it feel like to be in the opposite seat?
Not that different.
Not that different, okay. It's a little nerve-wracking sometimes for somebody new to come into an acupuncture office and not know what to expect.
Right.
First of all, let's just talk about the little needle thing. You know, people freak out about, they're not going to stick needles in me. Tell me about the needles, because they're really tiny. I mean, I almost wish they didn't call them needles.
Right. That keeps a lot of people from coming. It's the fear of needles, but it's not like a shot. The needles really are tiny. They're not hollow, there's nothing injected, they don't go in far, and in most treatments, I don't leave them in. I don't tell people it's painless. There can be a sensation, anything from sort of a subtle feeling of flowing or aching or that kind of thing, just down to old-fashioned pain. Doesn't last very long. And it's worth it.
It is worth it. And the needles are, I mean, in my estimation, I should, in full disclosure, say I'm a patient of yours, or a client. I don't know what you call people who have acupuncture.
Either one,
okay.
Doesn't matter.
They're about the size of a piece of hair, maybe? I mean, they're really tiny.
They're really tiny.
And they're not going into your actual bloodstream or anything. They're just in the...
No, we try to avoid blood vessels and nerves. The acupuncture points, which were mapped out thousands of years ago, tend to lie on the junctions between tissues rather than right in the middle of something.
Okay. Give me an example, if you can.
Oh, okay.
Can you? Give me an example.
Sure. Here's one, right here.
All right.
Okay, so this one lies between these tendons and where the wrist, where the forearm meets the wrist. And then there's a little indentation in there, and you can kind of slip a needle in there. You don't go in far because there is a nerve if you go too far. And it's not actually in a muscle, it's sort of like the edge of muscles. So sometimes I can needle somebody and they won't even know it's done.
Right. Now, I was going to say that. I've been coming to you for a while now. Never even thought of acupuncture in my life before. And I was having a problem with allergies.
Right.
And you can probably still hear I'm on the tail end of a cold and I'm a little bit nasally. But a massage therapist recommended you to me. And I came and I had an amazing experience. I know I was on the top of the charts, but the first time that I came to you, there were many needles in my back and things. I mean, I was like a little pincushion. But I had wonderful response from it. It wasn't an instant cure, but clearly something changed in my body. My body was starting to, in my estimation, put itself back in check.
That's exactly right. That's really how we work. I do want to say something about the pincushion.
Yeah, it's a little graphic, but okay.
there's a few treatments that require a lot of needles, but most of the time, I will just needle 2 to 4 points on each side of the body. And the needles are just in and out, in and out.
Yes.
So if somebody will come for a 45-minute treatment and the needles will be in for maybe 10 seconds of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So coming back to the sense of getting back in balance is really what it is. The whole idea behind Chinese medicine is that we get out of balance in a very general way. And my job is to figure out where our life energy, the Chinese word is qi, or in Japanese it's ki.
Yep.
How that energy gets blocked or out of balance, where parts are too strong and parts are too weak, or there's just sort of a general depletion. And what the needles do is to bring energy to where it hasn't been flowing, or to get it to disperse from where too much is accumulated, so that people come back into balance. And as a result, all these physiological things are able to come back into balance, and people heal themselves. It's really about healing themselves.
Yeah.
My job is to help you to heal yourself. There's nothing healing about being stuck with a needle by itself.
Right.
It's whether or in what way that stimulus encourages your whole system to say, ah, this is a place I've been looking for. And then, boom, amazing things happen.
It's interesting, in subsequent treatments that I've come in for, I've experienced just that, a couple of needles in my wrists or my hands or whatever. Many times I don't feel the needle at all. I mean, you have, I would say, a very good touch, I just don't feel it. When I do feel it, it's not that your touch is bad, it's that apparently I really needed it in that area. Yes. There's quite a difference between the left side and the right side if I'm out of balance in any way. I had the tennis elbow problem. I called you the day after I had the treatment and left you this message. I felt like someone oiled the Tin Man. I've been having tennis elbow for years, and I've learned to live with it. You know, I try not to aggravate it, and I try not to twist my hands certain ways. And you put needles in the palms of my hands, I think, is what did it. And they hurt. I'm not going to lie. Those two hurt.
That's a very painful point.
But only for a split second, and I would do it again right now. The benefit from it was so good. But what's interesting to me is, going back to the allergy thing or the tennis elbow thing, my body didn't experience those problems before. So the thought that I developed allergies later in life made me think about, well, what has changed in my physiology? Something's changed in my body that has caused me to be allergic to something. So the theory I had in mind is, if I could get my body to change back, I could eliminate those allergies or lessen them. And that sounds like Chinese medicine. It sounds
that's
like
exactly
Eastern
what we
medicine.
do.
And here we tend to, you know, in the Western medicine, we tend to ignore that and just say, take a pill, you're okay, you know, have some surgery. It's not that those things are bad. I mean, there's certainly a place for those, but for as an alternative thing to try first, my experience has been great. I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because that's really important. A lot of people talk about acupuncture as complementary medicine, and I like to think of it that way, is that it complements Western medicine. Western medicine is par excellence for things that are really in crisis, where the natural healing is not happening for one reason or another. If you have raging pneumonia, don't come see me, go see your doctor. If you have a car accident, don't come see me, go see your doctor. But after that, often people will have a residue of pain and problems. And then things like acupuncture can be really helpful. And on the other side of it, in terms of a tendency to get sick or chronic illnesses, that's where the complementary health, and I know a lot about acupuncture because I've been doing it for a long time, that's where it really excels, is helping you get in balance so you don't get into the crisis to begin with.
Sort of a preventative.
Yes, it's a preventive or prophylactic kind of thing that keeps you healthy. There's a story that in the old days, when an acupuncturist took you on as a patient, if you then got sick, that was his failure. And
Wow.
then he had to actually take care of you and your family until you were well again.
Wow.
Let me be
Interesting.
clear, I don't offer that service.
Yeah.
But that's the idea, that if you stay in balance and your energy keeps flowing smoothly,
that your body can maintain
that your body
itself.
will follow suit. Yeah.
Well, if you think about it at a very basic level, you know, you get a cut, your immune system rushes to the cut and heals it up.
Right.
So, and we sort of just accept that. Oh, I
Right.
got cut open now, it heals. We don't even think about it.
Right.
So why not other things?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what somebody could expect when they come to see you. You do
Yeah.
this thing where you take my pulses.
Right.
There's all these. So tell us a little bit about a basic appointment,
Okay.
if there is such a thing.
Okay. Well, at the first appointment, we have a lot of work to do.
I remember.
Yes. I have to hear from you what's going on and what the difficulties are, what you're looking for help with. But I'm also interested in what's the whole background. What else is going on that you may not be coming for, but is part of the picture of whether you're in balance or not.
I remember coming to you thinking there was really nothing wrong with me except allergies. But you're such a good listener when you started to ask those things and you actually cared about the minute things
Yeah.
that maybe a physician, you know, would go in one ear and out the other. So your toe bothers you, go, you know, walk on it, do whatever. You actually took all those little tidbits. Even as I started to talk to you, I would remember, oh wait, and my elbow's been bothering me. Or I dance a lot and I've got a toe that's been bothering me. And you just listened and took all of that down and then somehow formulated treatment for it.
Yeah.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah, that's part of getting the whole background to what's the general state of balance in someone. And their social situation and work situation, relationship
remember
situation,
that.
it's all part of that.
Yeah.
What kind of
Stress level.
stress do you live with? What's going on in your life that tends to throw you out of balance? And so I'm interested in what the details of that are, but I'm also interested in how you relate to them. What's coming up for you as you talk about, my elbow hurts? What's coming up for you as you talk about, I love my work, I hate my work, or I'm so stressed, or whatever. That's all part of how we're in balance or not. Then, once you get all that background, usually then I will read the person's pulses on the wrist.
Yeah, I love this part.
Yes.
Explain the pulse thing.
What I'm feeling for is how energetic the pulse feels in different locations. And there's 12 different locations that we use, 6 on each wrist. It's 3 positions, 2 depths on each side. And each one of those relates to a particular acupuncture meridian. So I'm able to feel on the wrist what the internal balance is. It's the one place where I really have a meter I can read, in a sense.
Yeah.
Which meridians have too little energy, which have too many? Is the whole system depleted? Is the whole system, you know, working too hard?
Really?
What's more typical is some places are working too hard and others are just collapsed.
Yeah.
And so that's primarily what I'm feeling. The pulse rate, which is what people look for in Western medicine, is not that important. It's a bit of a factor, but it's really much more, what's the relative strength in each of these places? Or what's the energy? And then you can get into subtleties, like what's the quality of it? Does it feel like the heartbeat as it travels by my finger? Does it feel like it's struggling? Does it feel squishy? Does it feel really hard and wiry? And that will vary from position to position. Now, the other way in which it's useful is it tells me how treatment's progressing.
Yes.
Because what I should see in a good treatment is that the differences even out, that if there's overall depletion, that the energy comes up. And we get this phenomenon, what some people call the pulses start to bloom.
Oh, really?
Which is wonderful, which is where you can feel the energy in the person through the pulse. You can feel it just kind of expand and get relaxed and full and vibrant. Because that's what's happening inside. It's not just what's happening here.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
My guest today is Dan Sachs from the Acupuncture Office. We'll be back in a moment. I have so many things I want to ask you when we're back.
Underwriting for the Money Doctor Show is provided by Dr. Glenn Brooks at the office of Glenn Brooks and Spa on the Green. 413-565-4400. drglennbrooks.com. Video broadcast services. Complete marketing services for your business. 480-200-4222. Videobroadcastservices.com. Richard Wiedegartner, LMT. Neuromuscular Massage Therapy. For pain relief, call 413-773-5775. rwmassagetherapy.com. Magic Wings Butterfly Conservatory. 4,000 butterflies flying year-round. 413-665-2805. magicwings.com.
Hello and welcome back to The Money Doctor. My guest is Dan Sachs from the Acupuncture Office, and we are talking about none other than acupuncture. And I'm giggling because I know about some things that we've done to me personally, which we'll talk about. But first I wanted to say, when I first came to you in my initial appointment, I had the experience afterwards, which I'm sure not everybody experiences, but I felt like I had the best massage of my life.
Right.
I went home and I took a 2-hour nap. I can't remember the last time I took a 2-hour nap in the middle of the day if I wasn't sick. And I was a little worried about, oh boy, if this is going to happen every time I go to acupuncture, I'm going to have to block out the day. But it seemed that I must have been, even though I didn't think I was under stress, I was going through some stressful things in my life, and something must have opened up, and I felt a sense of relief from that. And subsequently, I feel more energetic every time I come. I have never been tired since that first time. I don't know if that's common, but I bet you can tell us.
Well, you responded really well.
Yeah,
But
I'm a good patient.
Yes.
Yeah.
And partly that's because you live your life really well.
Oh.
It's like the framework supporting balance is there.
Yeah, I hope so. That's my friends and family. That balance part. It really is. Yeah.
But most people get really relaxed with the treatment, and that's part of what I look for. And it tells me, it's working.
Yeah, I wish I could do it every day because I always have this sense of calm. After I should do it before every show. I have this nice sense of calm afterwards, and it just is.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk about it all we want, and I've recommended several people. I know some have come to you. Other people told me about acupuncture, but I just couldn't get it until I did it.
Yeah.
You can't know what it's like until you experience it. Which brings me to, how long have you been doing this? I mean, it has to take a long time to be good at this and feel the pulses and all of that.
Yeah, it does take a long time. Well, I graduated from acupuncture school 30 years ago, last May.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep.
And
30 years.
I've been studying ever since. You're never done learning with this.
Yeah.
When you get good at it. I don't know. I'll get good at it soon, I hope.
You're good at it. You're very good at it. Do we know anything about the history of acupuncture? It's thousands of years, right?
Yes, it's very old. It's from ancient China. There have been manuscripts found describing acupuncture, primitive acupuncture, that are about 5,000 years old.
Wow.
And very old needles. In those days, they made needles out of jade and and really large needles.
I was thinking,
we would
you
look
can't
at them
make a
now and say,
tiny
that looks like a nail. I've seen them in museums.
Yeah.
But people lived much closer to nature then, and they were observing nature in a way that's much more difficult for us now. And so that's where it came from, and it evolved, as far as I can tell, pretty slowly over a very long period of time. And really, the beginnings are lost. The real beginnings are lost. Nobody knows. There's kind of silly stories out there about a soldier getting stuck in the foot with an arrow and his headaches went away.
Oh, really? There's things like that, yeah.
Yeah, and they're probably not true. they're unlikely. But that does remind me of a miracle story.
I love that. Okay, stories, please.
Okay. I had a woman come to my office from the emergency room at the hospital with a really severe migraine.
Wow.
And unfortunately, the emergency room had not been able to help her with all of the modern drugs. She came in, lay down on the table, and put one needle in her little toe. Just boom, boom, and her headache was gone, just like that.
Wow.
Now that hasn't happened with everybody I've treated with an ongoing migraine.
Yeah.
But that was just this wonderful demonstration of what the possibility is when you help someone to rebalance.
Now, I have my own story that I said I wasn't going to tell on the air. I am going to tell it, but first let me ask you, are there different areas of acupuncture, different treatment styles?
Yes, yeah, they're very different styles.
So not all acupuncturists are the same?
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about those?
The mainstream of acupuncture, which I don't do in this country anyway, is what's done in modern China now. It's called TCM, or Traditional Chinese Medicine. And
or Turner Classic Movies.
Turner Classic Movie, right?
My favorite TV station, Turner Classic Movies. Okay. TCM, yep.
And it's a more modern form where you are working a lot from symptoms. And Western diagnosis has a real important place in it. What I do is a very old, in some ways new, in some ways old classical style. It's called 5-element work. And I rarely treat symptoms. What I do is, again, is I treat the whole person, helping them to get into balance. And then nature does the healing.
Yes.
So that's a big difference in the acupuncture world. And then there are many styles. I mean, acupuncture, as far as we know, began in China. But Japanese acupuncture, several styles. There's acupuncture from Vietnam, different styles. And even within China, there's lots of different styles. So it's really a question of finding a practitioner that you feel connected with. That's what really works. I mean, they're all helpful.
One of the things that I appreciated the first time, I'm an education or a knowledge junkie. So the first time I came to you, I wanted to know all about, so why are you putting the needle there? Tell me what you're doing. And I remember that you said, I'd rather not tell you, I'd rather just treat you and we can talk about it later. And I thought, okay, I'll just lie here and trust this. The thing I like about that, you very seldom talk to me much while you're treating me. In fact, even when you're taking my pulses, you'll close your eyes and it's quiet and I can tell that you're really working. And now you've gotten to know me so well that instead of asking me, in the beginning you would ask me, how do you feel, does this feel better or whatever. Now you can actually do something and say, oh, your body like that. You're getting to know me, to know what I can do. The thing that fascinated me most about this is that there could be no psychosomatic behavior from me about it. You're not putting a needle in my wrist and saying, so you should feel better in your elbow because of this. You just do the treatment and then I'm able to report to you what it is. Now, we're getting a little close on time, but I have to tell this story. I said I wasn't going to do it, but the whole reason that I invited you on the show is that I had an amazing experience. Beside the calm and the other benefits that I've gotten from this, for about 20 years, I have had a right toe, a big toe, that essentially goes out of place, almost like a hammer toe would. I've been to many doctors and they've said, oh, your tendon is overstretched and it's years of dancing and it's degenerative and it's not going to get better and you can try some toe exercises, you can put a spacer. I've heard all the things. My toe has been out of place the better part of every day. Sometimes it will wake me up at night forever. I came to you for allergies, for allergies. And after the first treatment, I noticed that my toe was perfect for 4 days. Now, through a few treatments, it's totally okay. But the next time, it was better for almost a month. And I called you and said, did you do anything for my toe? And you said, no, you didn't do anything for my toe. But there is no disputing that I had that response. And it was great. It was one of those pains that you don't realize you're living with until it's gone. And then it was just fun to just test out your toe and make sure it was okay. So you know, I tell people when I tell them about acupuncture, don't necessarily go with the expectation that he's going to put needles in you and you're never going to have an allergy symptom again. But the benefits have been so good for me that I continue to go, and it gets better every time. I don't know that that's the right thing to say. Would you agree with that? Or?
No, absolutely.
You would?
I would agree with that.
Yeah?
No. That people almost always come in with a specific thing they want to deal with.
Yeah, something brings them in, the pain point brings them in.
But then the whole ballgame starts to change.
So speaking of the toe thing.
Yes.
You set me on fire in your office. Not once, but 5 times, I think, 5 or 6 times.
In a row.
In a row.
Right.
And it was called?
It's called Moxibustion.
Moxibustion.
It's another way of treating an acupuncture point besides the needle. And what we do is take some ground up leaf of a plant.
Is it
mugwort?
Mugwort.
Yeah, or Latin name is Artemisia vulgaris. It actually grows around here as a weed. And we dry the leaf, and it's ground up, and then you take a little piece of it, you roll it between your fingers to make a sort of a pyramid shape.
Yep.
And put that on the point, and light it, and let it burn down till you feel the heat.
Yep.
Not till I burn you.
Right.
Or set you on fire.
No, I felt very safe, actually, yeah.
And then I pluck it off.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing about the moxibustion is you can pick it up with your fingers if you do it right without getting burned. And we do it repeatedly, and it stimulates the point. It's very helpful for people who are low in energy or where something is frozen, because the warmth actually helps things to unfreeze and to move where they've been stuck.
Now there was like a little mark on my foot, but I want to point out that was not a burn mark. It leaves like a little residue, right?
Yes, the mox itself leaves a little bit of kind of a little bit sticky stuff on the point, and that's part of the treatment.
Yeah. And it was quite effective. But it was especially fun for Chris Collins, who got to see you light my foot on fire.
Yes. So hot foot.
A little hot foot. But it was effective.
Yeah. And I love it when people come in and say to me, is this supposed to change everything? And then I know that we're on the right track. Because in an important way, that's true. It is supposed to change everything.
Yeah.
Including not just physical things, but also emotional, mental, what we would call psychological difficulties.
Yeah.
I actually work with a lot of people around anxiety, depression, that kind of thing.
I could understand.
Because again, as you get into balance, those things are symptoms. A toe problem is a symptom.
I thought so. I mean, it had been X-rayed. There was no, nothing really wrong with it that we could tell. But
still, it's a symptom, and anxiety is a symptom as well.
Right, right. If people are having a little anxiety and they want to talk to you, how would they reach the acupuncture office, which is in Gill, Mass, right? Right. So
I work out of my home in Gill. And Brattleboro,
right?
You could call me in Gill at 863-2702.
413 area code, right?
413 area code, 863-2702.
And there's information at your website? At
my website, which is just called very simply theacupunctureoffice.com.
Tricky.
Yes.
I think they'll remember that.
Make sure you get .com, because there's another one with a different ending.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's clever. Yes. Well, I thank you so much for being here, but mostly I thank you because I feel better. I feel better than I have in a long time, and I always thought I felt okay, but there is truly something to it that I would recommend to folks. So.
Well, I'm glad I could help you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes. Thank you.
My pleasure. Until our next chat, Dan Sachs and I will remind you, keep it positive.
There's a better life if I could be debt free, but all my money is a mystery. I was feeling overwhelmed and it was wearing thin when I knocked on the door and heard the doctor's in. Oh, the doctor's in, the doctor's in. She got the right prescription to help you win. Oh, the doctor's in, the money doctor's in.